focuses on the wealth, your finances, your plan for how you're moving forward. I'm hearing generational wealth. I don't know if that is connected to Taurus or not, but hearing generational wealth is something that's going to be on your mind. Also, Taurians are really good at the self-care, the sensuality, the sensual pleasures of life. This is a great time to hunker down and do that. You know, it's pumpkin season. Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to your new moon musings for the new moon happening on October 21st. And this is a Libra new moon that is going to actually bring us right into Scorpio season. And wow, it's something that we really all need to pay attention to. For those of you who are just new to me and you've never done this before, stay tuned to the very end of the video to watch a 1-minute clip of how you can make this reading work for you. And for those of you who are old hat and used to it, you know the drill. Click on the Astrology Deets and let's get to it. When we talk about that Libra new moon energy, first of all, Libra is our relationships. Libra is balance, justice, finding the gray areas in between, living on the extremes, and then being able to say, okay, that's too much of this for me. This feels a little more in alignment. And so I feel like that's the question that's really going to be coming up with this new moon energy, is we are moving out of that sort of figuring out the alignment space and moving into that scorpionic energy, which is the emotional deep dive. We go from air energy, the element of air, into the element of water. So both are psychic, both are intuitive in their own ways, but in very different ways. And so I feel like Libra and that new moon energy is coming through for that, 24-hour-ish window of time to make sure that you are in alignment, because when Scorpio season comes in, it is that deep dive. It is going in and saying, okay, now that I am aware of what needs to be aligned, now I need to clear a path to make sure that that alignment is solid, that it has something that it can kind of hang on to. And in order to do that, I got to do the emotional deep dive. So there's a lot that's coming up and coming through. So without further ado, we are going to be pulling cards from the Artist Decoded Tarot. This is actually Jennifer Sodini and Yoshino. Let's just kind of dive on in and see what's coming up. The new moon is going to be happening on 8:26 a.m. Eastern Standard, which I believe is 1:26 p.m. UTC. It might be 12. I get confused because now I'm on Mountain Time and we're like the only ones who don't do daylight savings. So I try to do it based on Eastern Standard and then the UTC, but I believe that there is a shift in daylight savings during that time. So forgive me if that is inaccurate. Okay, so we are first going to pull a release card. The release card, what am I releasing from this previous cycle? Oh, interesting. We have the Eight of Cups. So the Eight of Cups is walking away. And I do feel very strongly that we are, in fact, as a collective, releasing a fuck ton of stuff that we've been carrying that has been, I want to say, thrown to the wolves, a lot of rubble, things, systems, systematic energies, systems that have been crumbling down. We are leaving that all behind us. And I have to say to you, that actually feels really good. Not saying that everything's going to be sunshine and daisies, wine and roses, but for all of us in the world, I'm speaking globally right now, we could use a little peace and ease. Not that this is necessarily going to bring about peace and ease, but because we are choosing to walk away from the past, we're letting it all go. We're not worried about the cups. We're not worrying about the state of cups. We're not worrying about anything at all. We're choosing to walk into a new existence. And this feels really good. So I feel that this month is going to be bringing about a lot of that energy that is supportive release, and it's chosen release. This isn't, something is being cleared away from me and I have no choice but to let it go and I'm really sad about it. I'm not saying there isn't grief connected to this, but there's also a resolution around it. It's like I'm resolved to the fact that I don't need this shit anymore. Like, I would rather start from scratch. It's like I'm seeing like the cookie dough that is that you put too much baking soda in instead of baking powder in, and it just ruins the whole thing and it's too dry and crumbly. Like, you can't fix it after that. Or like accidentally putting a ton of salt into your food. How can you undo that? You just have to throw it out and start from scratch. And that's really what I feel is being called to light with this release card. And now we have our soul card for this month. And the soul card is, what is the collective learning and growth for this new moon cycle? Knight of Wands. Wow. Okay. So I feel like from a soul perspective, we are reigniting our passions. We are getting excited about starting a new venture. Knights are about the quest. And I feel like collectively we are all on a quest to find that new passion, to find that new direction, to find that new purpose. And I feel like when we're talking about this soul card energy during this new moon cycle, it feels almost like we've got to create this for ourselves. So, sometimes a passion can sort of fall into our lap, right? Sometimes, at school, for example, you take all these classes and you're like, okay, my parents told me I have to go, and you go through the whatever, but then all of a sudden you take a class and you're like, wow, I'm like really good at this. And wow, I actually really enjoy this. And wow, I actually know a lot about this. And all of a sudden you discover, wow, I have a passion for this. I feel like this is us having to create the direction of our passion. So how do I explain this? Each of us has our own individual passions, these things that light our fire and float our boats. Our guides are always going to say to us, find the thing that lights your fire and floats your boat and do more of that. If all of us are doing that, all of us find our place. All of us have a place that fits uniquely into the mosaic that is planet Earth. And I feel like that is kind of what we're being called to do, is don't seek out a passion. You have to choose it. So let it come from within. Pursue what lights your fire and floats your boat on an individual level, because that's going to actually be really consistent in helping the collective to find its new pathway forward. And I feel like all of these pyramids that are being featured in this card are Source's way, universe's way of saying, as you're putting your focus, we will send you energy into that. So put your focus up and we will send back to you what it is that you need to make that work. So we got a lot of source energy, a lot of support from source energy. Liking that. Okay, now we are at our new moon card. I manifest. What energies are here to support my manifesting? And how can I lean into their wisdom? So this is happening October 21st through to the 24th. 10 of Wands. Wow. So 2 wands back to back. So it's really interesting because this is the rewards and the burdens that go with it. And this is the card that says, yes, acknowledge your wins, acknowledge your accomplishments. You've come a long way, baby. And yeah, you're not a novice at this anymore. You have succeeded at life. You have some experiences under your belt that you can, talk about and share. And there are things that you've chosen that make you interesting in your own right. But there's also that energy of, okay, how long do you need that grade 3 spelling bee trophy sitting on your desk when you're 45? I mean, how long do you need that to be there? How important is that? What is the significance of that to you? So I feel like the new moon is really bringing up especially when we're talking about that Libra energy going into Scorpio. Scorpio is going to do the clearing out. So Libra, you might as well get started. You might as well look at that closet and at least do a tally of, how many of this thing I have, how many of that thing I have, what side is more full than the other, right? Fuller than the other. I feel like this 10 of Wands is inviting you to do a spring cleaning of the proverbial emotional and energetic closet, as well as the physical closet, really coming to terms and having that come to Jesus moment with yourself about, how many blenders do I really need? How many spoons, that don't match anything else that I've got, do I really need? How many single sock do I need at this point? So collectively, I feel like the new moon energy is really going to support all of us in stepping into that space and energy of clearing out, clearing the space. And it's also like getting real with yourself. How much do I really need? When I look at that closet, the closet of my life, do I really need all of these things? Or am I hanging on to them out of a false sense of safety or security? How often do I use these things? Also, I feel like we need to get real with ourselves about what a want is versus a need. Not that wants are bad. Wants are great. But you want to make sure that you're understanding what is an absolute need and what really is a want. Because when you do have that understanding and awareness, it allows you to release, to detach, to let go, so that you can make room for more of the wants. Because now these are my needs and I've got my needs met. So now everything above that is icing on the cupcake. And that is what we are really going to be sort of tapping into. I want to say with that sort of that new moon energy and that new moon frequency. Also, for some of you who are looking for a job, this isn't going to apply to everyone, but those of you who are looking for a job, this is also going to be a really interesting time. I feel like you're going to kind of stumble across something that's a bit unexpected. And it's just going to be like, it's just going to float. It's just going to flow. It's going to be the right thing. It might even feel a little too good to be true. It's not. Lean into it. I feel like it's happening for you for a reason. Okay, now we are at our Waxing Crescent. The Waxing Crescent card is I plan. What do I need to consider when creating my plan for the cycle? Any challenges or opportunities to be aware of? And this is, the Waxing Crescent is happening October 21st through to the 28th, excuse me. Another wand, guys, 5 of Wands. Okay, so coming out of air season, and we are now officially, so happy birthday, Scorpios. We are now officially in Scorpio season. We're in the water, air and water, but yet we have pulled 3 out of 4 wands coming into the mix. Is that correct? Yes, because we had the 8 of Cups as the other one. So this is significant because it is about reigniting our passions. 5 of Wands, this is a card of training, learning, not getting overly focused on things that don't really matter, keeping your eye on the prize. 5s are about shift, change, transformation. And this particular window of time, I'm feeling like the question that you really want to go into in your soul space is asking those questions. Okay, the 10 of Wands, I just did this whole clean out. Now the 5 of Wands is inviting me to get clear on what my priorities actually are. And what is it that I really want to invest my time and energy into learning? Because it is about learning. We walked away, we let go of this past. Now it's about, okay, what ignites me? Because, okay, she said that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to follow my joy in order to be able to ignite the collective, in the collective joy. So you have permission to pursue what brings you pure joy. And this is an invitation for you to allow yourself to be a student, to learn, to not take life too seriously, to really allow yourself to be in that trainer space, but to also understand that, yeah, there are going to be important things that you'll need to focus on. And you will know what those things are. But the rest of it, just kind of be light. Be light and free with it, because you're in a transitional space. Not everything is going to make sense, and not everything is going to, I want to say, have a reliable flow. You're not necessarily going to be able to rely on it. Trust that, oh, this absolutely is, it's not stable necessarily, but it's not supposed to be. And Scorpio season is going to help you with that, because Scorpios are really good about being in flow and making those shifts and changes really quickly. They can turn on a dime. So allow yourself to be in that space and that energy. And no, you're not going to have everything figured out in this time. In fact, I feel like most of you will have maybe a period of confusion, or a period of, I don't know what's next. I don't know. Almost like the Hanged One, like that pregnant pause where you're like, okay, there's something going on. I just don't know what it is. Recognize that is a natural, normal, and necessary part of the process of what you're going through. Okay, now we are at our first quarter card. I act. What energy fuels my motivation? How can I collaborate with source energy to empower my actions? And this is happening on October 29th through to November 1st. Happy November. The devil. So I feel like this is a window of time where everyone is really going to be challenged. Some are going to be ready for it. Some are going to be going along kicking and screaming. With clearing the deck so that you decide what foundation is going to work best. I'm hearing for your community. So this isn't from an individual perspective. I feel like this is how you as an individual function within your, sort of the microcosm collective that you've got going on, your community. And I feel like all of us pretty collectively in our own little communities are going to be asked to formulate a plan, to provide or contribute to the stability of what that is. This could be people getting together and doing a food drive. This could be people getting together and doing a free trade thing. Like I know in my community here, we have so many people on our little Henry app send messages to everyone. Hey, I've got this box of hangers. Hey, there's a bag of diapers that I'm not going to use. Hey, I've got this beanbag chair, first come, first serve to whoever wants it. I feel like that kind of energy is coming up, and it's about building. Now, what does the devil have to do with building? I feel like I'm reading this more astrologically. The devil is the Capricorn card. And I feel like this Capricornian energy that's coming through to bring a little bit of stability, a little bit of structure to the Scorpionic flow that is occurring. And I feel like it's almost like we are being called to repair damage done by someone's ego, by the collective ego, that we're being humbled, or we've been humbled and now we are, coming together to support one another. This definitely feels like we're winning over the devil, winning over the addictions, the unhealthy patterning, the misuse of the shadow. And I feel like that's why there's that big community sort of energy, is we're coming together to support one another in releasing that devil energy that's been hanging on for so long. We are held victim, or we are in that prison of our own making, or in that, prison of maybe another person's choices. And now we're being shifted out of that. So on an individual level, I would say all of us need to really kind of be considering what we have to offer as an individual, how we can offer that to our community, our local community. Because you're going to have several of these, sort of local communities all around, and there's going to be this kind of outpouring of support, help, assistance, helping your fellow neighbor. I just feel that energy. I don't know that there's necessarily a great tragedy, although we do have a lot, astrologically, we have a lot of weather events that are being predicted at this time. So there could be some kind of weather event, an earthquake or a hurricane or something. I'm not getting anything specific around that, but I'm definitely feeling that we are kind of, it's like on the other side of that devil energy that we are expanding into. And now we are at our waxing gibbous. I choose. What energy can I lean into for confidence as I discern my commitments? This is November 2nd through the 4th. 9 of Swords. Interesting. So this is a card of extreme anxiety. 9 is endings. And I feel like what's coming up here is that there does seem to feel like somehow, I keep hearing like Ding Dong, the witch is dead from The Wizard of Oz. It's like the boogeymen that or the demons that you've been facing, like you've conquered. You've kicked some ass and taken names. You've had a breakthrough. And so this 9 of Swords energy no longer holds you. The anxiety that you have been feeling, that you've been locked in, or that has been, I want to say, kind of like a frenemy for a number of months now, maybe even a number of years that you've been dealing with, now suddenly it's dissipated. And you're looking at your life and you're saying, okay, body, you're reacting in an anxious way, but the mind and the heart knows that there's nothing to be anxious about. That anxiousness is over. I feel a lot of us are going to be kind of, what do you call that? Like learning how to self-regulate, to remind the body that we're no longer in like a traumatic phase or energy. Like there's a lot of like bringing the head, the ego mind, bring it into connection with the heart and the soul space. So there's a realignment, a readjustment. And I think I talked about alignment before. So this brings us into emotional and energetic alignment. Even if everything else is a little bit wonky, I feel like this is kind of what you're choosing. You're choosing to no longer live in the anxiety, that anxious state, and instead you're replacing it with, I feel like, new vision, new hope. I'm also hearing for some of you new procedures, new structure, new ways of doing things. Okay, now we are at our full moon. I receive. How can I best open to the energies of this full moon to receive clarity, guidance, or direction? And what gift does this full moon offer to me? So the full moon is happening November 5th through the 7th, and it's a full moon in Taurus. So this is a beaver moon, and the beaver moon, or a frost moon, this is all about when the beavers are starting to prepare for the winter. They're making sure that their homes are solid and stable and stacked. They're making sure that they've got enough food stored in there for the winter. They're making sure that there's enough room in the dam for everyone, for all the kids and, everybody, come one, come all. So there's a level of preparation that's going on during this time. I also had grounding. This will be an excellent time for you to kind of stay within and ground a bit. Staying within means you don't have to stay indoors all the time unless that's what you're called to. If you're going out and you're going to be out and about, make sure it's in nature. Even if you're socializing and doing stuff like that, make sure that you're out in nature. Do it outside. Be out in nature, not in concrete jungle. I feel like that's really important. So the focus is on, this is Taurus stuff, focuses on the wealth, your finances, your plan for how you're moving forward. I'm hearing generational wealth. I don't know if that is connected to Taurus or not, but hearing generational wealth is something that's going to be on your mind. Also, Taurians are really good at the self-care, the sensuality, the sensual pleasures of life. This is a great time to hunker down and do that. It's pumpkin season, right? It's pumpkin chai latte season, or, whatever the hell it is, hot chocolate season, going out in the fall and, playing in the leaves and doing the not the, well, I suppose it could be haunted houses, but also like the corn mazes and things like that. So definitely feeling that you want to be doing things that bring you a lot of pleasure and a lot of joy in the physical. And this is also a time to really complete unfinished projects. And isn't that interesting? Because we had that 10 of Swords in the new moon that was saying, hey, clean out the closet. Because now that you've done that, you're going to be able to complete certain projects that you started and start with a clean slate. That feels really important. So here's our card, 6 of Cups. And one of the things that you are going to be completing, I feel, is all of your connection to the past. All of those past experiences, past energies that I want to say that pull you or keep you in a stuck state or in a state of living back here, even though your life is right here. And I feel like this is across the board for all of us. It almost feels like we're all going to have like a memory wipe where for like a few days, we're not even going to be able to conjure up memories. Like you might even notice a lot of people might have a bit of like a collective memory lapse where they, for whatever reason, like you can't remember what year it was that this happened, or you don't remember meeting that person and someone brings it up and you're like, oh my God, yeah, I forgot that we went to that concert and met that person. Like how could I forget that? Like that was such a big deal. And I don't feel like, we're not talking about sci-fi Matrix shit. We're just talking here about, I feel like the emphasis and the focus is really on letting go of the past and really being present. This full moon is going to help us to really be present with what is and help us to evaluate what it is that we're wanting to create moving forward based on what we have right now. We don't need the past. We've already assimilated and integrated everything that we need from the past. We don't need that. We need to drink from the cup of today. Because the other stuff, it's an illusion. It's part of your past. It's part of who you were, not who you are, and certainly not who you're becoming. And I feel like that's really important. Okay, now we are at our disseminating moon. I acknowledge how best can I honor my gifts and my light during this time. Where can I express gratitude from the heart? So disseminating moon is happening November 8th through the 10th. So interesting, 7 of Cups. So we've got wands and cups, folks, wands and cups. So the fire and the water. And of course, like I said, we're in Scorpio season now. So the water makes a lot of sense. You're in Scorpio's environment, and the water, I'm hearing, wants to support you. It wants to comfort you. It wants to kind of take you to the shore in a calm, gentle, peaceful way. But in order for that to happen, you have to not fight it. You have to go with the flow. I feel like that's important. So 7 of Cups is acknowledging that, yeah, there are a lot of different ways that we as a collective can go. There are a lot of different ways that you on an individual level can go. And you might even feel a bit of overwhelm around this, looking at, oh my God, what is the next path? Like, what is the right path? Where were you 3 months ago when I was bored to tears and looking for something to do, right? But it never rains but it pours, right? All at once. I feel like this is happening during this disseminating moon, right after that I receive energy, after that full moon card, which of course we had that 6 of Cups energy. This is coming in to say, okay, you've cleared the decks, you've wiped your memory, basically. You are now in your present moment. And this is exactly what needs to come up. If the slate is clean and you're starting to, I'm going to use the game analogy, you're starting to create your avatar. You create with a blank slate. You get to dress the avatar. You get to choose what type of personality the avatar is. You get to choose what weapons they use. You get to choose who they're friends with and who they're enemies with. You get to choose their likes and their dislikes. And I feel like that's exactly what is transpiring here. You get to decide. And so I feel like that's what this is about. I acknowledge that I have choice in front of me right now. And I acknowledge that I'm over freaking whelmed with all of the choice. But here's the catch. Because Scorpio is actually supporting you in this regard, it's not taking you down, it's lifting you up. It's saying, listen, why don't you just let go and let us take you? We'll naturally, organically eliminate 4 of these cups for you because we know that they're not really, going to suit you all that much. Or you can let us know where your focus is, and from there we can make some of the elimination for you to make it simpler. And then you only have 3 paths to choose from. So I feel like the invitation here is to acknowledge the overwhelm and then to ask for help from your guides. To ask for help and say, listen, I have no idea which way to go. So please make it super obvious. Give me the clear, nope, this is not for me, so that I don't waste my time and energy trying to figure out if it is. And that leads me closer to the things that I know I can focus on. You're always going to have free will and choice. And by the way, you do not have to make this choice during this window of time. I feel like the choices are being presented to you. And you can, the choice that you have to make around these choices is to say, all right, I'm going to agonize and hem and haw over each of them. Or I'm going to connect with my guides and say, I'm going with the flow. Put me on the right shore. Show me which are my options that are going to be for my highest and best based on, where I want to go and where I want to grow. And I feel like that's what this is. So it's an invitation to ask for help. To understand that overwhelm is there to remind you that you're not alone and that you can ask for help. You don't have to do it all by yourself. You can, if you really want to. I mean, if that's your choice, have at it. But I feel like you don't need to. And I feel like that's what that's all about. All right, so now we are at our 3rd quarter card. I claim. What is being completed in my life at this time? How can I connect to its release with conviction? So the 3rd quarter card is happening on November 11th through to the 14th. And that is the Hanged Man, the Hanged One. So I think I referenced this card a little bit earlier. It's being in that pregnant pause, right? Like kind of being in limbo and not being sure exactly what is going on. So I feel like what you're claiming the fact that you don't know. You're claiming the fact that, all right, I'm asking for help and I have no idea where this journey is going to take me, but, I'm strapped in for the ride. And I'm not going to worry about it. I'm simply going to be present for every single second of it. And I'm going to have my eyes wide open and I'm going to pay attention to everything that is around me because this is part of the journey, right? I'm sure I've said this 1,000,001 times in these readings, but it bears repeating. And as cheesy as it sounds, it's very rarely about the destination. And it's more importantly about the journey. Why is that? Because the destination is pretty much a given. If it's something that you really want, you're going to get there. You're going to figure it out in some capacity. So if you can let go of this idea that that's a maybe, and you say, well, that's a given. For sure, I'm going to get there. Then it frees you up to be able to say, okay, well, how do I get there? How do I enjoy that path and that journey? What things am I going to learn? Considering that maybe the journey is going to prepare you for the destination. You have the destination in mind and you think at that time I'm ready for it. Maybe you're not. And maybe that destination is bringing you there. So the Hanged Man, I feel, is coming up and coming through to give you that reflection time. To be able to say, okay, I've asked for the assistance. I trust and know that the assistance is coming. So now I'm just going to strap in and I'm just going to wait for the driver to hit go, right? To step on the gas and take me where it is that I need to go. I have trust and faith. I've got my pajamas in my backpack. I got my toothbrush and my toothpaste. I got my bottle of water. I got my extra battery for the phone. Like, I'm good. And now I can go and do this. So these 2 cards, I want to say the Disseminating Moon and the 3rd quarter moon energy here, it's really about allowing things to unfold more organically. You don't have to drive the bus. You don't have to push. In fact, I feel like these are going to be these 6 days are really going to be those kinds of days where you're not going to have all the answers. You are going to feel a little bit in limbo. Embrace it. See it as a gift. See it as an opportunity for you to stop and smell the roses, to refine the desire, the dream, the wish, the goal, to call up the friend that you've been meaning to reach out to for the last 6 months and to have a conversation, right? Doing those things that you've wanted to do for a while that just keep getting put off. This is going to be the window of time to do it, because I'm hearing gratitude. It's a time to be grateful for that gift of time. Time to be grateful for the gift of time. Not very poetic, but there you go. And now we are on to our balsamic moon. I surrender. What energy can I lean into to fly free into this new version of me? What can I consider as I embrace this opportunity to know myself anew? This is happening on November 15th through to the 18th. This is the last card of the scientific new moon cycle. And then we have one other card pull after this. So we've got the Knight of Cups. Cups and wands, peeps. Cups and wands. We have gotten nothing else, with the exception of, we've gotten nothing else except the Devil and the Hanged Man. And interestingly, they are on the first quarter and the third quarter. So that's significant, getting the two major arcana, and then everything else is a minor, and they're water and the fire, the flame. Very significant. So Knight of Cups, the romanticist, the idealist. This is that knight in shining armor energy. The challenge with this card, I feel for you guys, is that after this 6-ish days, maybe 7, of stopping and smelling the roses, there's a part of you that maybe loses touch a little bit with the reality of what is now on the other side of all of this shift and change. And, I talk about this a fair amount, but it's coming up. It's like buyer's remorse. This is going to be a time where you've had some time to kind of decompress, to recharge a little bit. And all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, I really like this, and I don't want to have to go back. I don't want to have to go and do the thing that I no longer want to do, but thought that I did want to do, or that I've been pushing myself to do for so long. Now I'm recognizing how much I've not enjoyed it, and I just don't want to go back. So for a lot of you, I feel like you're going to have a little bit of that buyer's remorse. Oh, it was such a good idea. Thought it was a great idea at the time, for all of this shit to be torn down. But now I'm what goes in its place? And so I don't feel like the buyer's remorse is valid in the sense that you've done something wrong or it was a mistake. It's more like the reality kind of sets in, and you've been living a little bit kind of pie in the sky, right? And this could be also as a result of we feel so much lighter when we've released a lot of things, right? We feel lighter when we're stepping outside of something that has been heavy, a burden to bear, that 10 of Wands energy. When we've been bearing the burden and we finally lighten ourselves or loosen ourselves from it, and we enjoy the taste of freedom and lightness that it provides. And so Knight of Cups taps into that energy, the idealism, the romantic, the, oh my God, we could do this, and oh my God, we could do that. And, it's the grand gesture and all of the things and the stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the the Knight of Cups also needs something solid and tangible to manifest into the physical, how to sustain all of those wonderful inspirations and ideas, how to bring them into being. And I feel like that is what is really coming up for us in that balsamic moon energy, is surrendering to, okay, I'd love to stay airy-fairy and high and free and floaty and everything is awesome. But in order to do that, I do have to have a certain level of grounding. And we talked about grounding during the full moon. So I feel like you want to bring some of that full moon energy back into the mix and to say, oh, okay, yeah, I do need to ground myself in this. It's okay to have all of this stuff. It's amazing. Write it all down and then ground yourself in it and allow the water, the idea of the water, the psychic, the intuitive to wash through you, to be filtered through you, because the filtered water on the other side is going to have some of that grit, that soot in it. And don't worry, it's not like you're going to drink grit and soot. It's just the idea that, okay, it's finding its purpose and it's finding its substance in your life. And you're going to feel this. I feel like all of us are really going to have this kind of visceral sensation within our bodies that something is shifting, something is changing. I'm hearing the Disney song, something has changed within me, something is not the same. The rules of someone else's game. I don't even know what I'm singing. Maybe Wicked? Maybe it's a Wicked song? My God, it's been so long since I taught voice lessons or did anything like that. I don't even know what's going on there. But anyway, it's a musical. All right, now we're at our Dark Moon card. And so again, this isn't part of the scientific, but this is definitely a part of the energetic cycle of the new moon. And the Dark Moon or the Void Moon card is I release. What can I release control of or walk away from, knowing it has served its purpose in this cycle? How can I remain open to the new and unknown in this process? Death. Releasing the change, releasing the transformation. And for those of you who embrace the Seven of Cups and the Hanged One, this is going to be easy peasy for you. This is going to be nice and simple for you because you're going to say, yeah, you're right. And when you've worked on the Six of Cups as well, which was in the full moon, see if I can grab the Six of Cups card. When you can recognize that I have let go of the past entirely. Now I'm recognizing there's no buyer's remorse in releasing this past. There's an awareness of, oh, why didn't I do this sooner? And I mean, you did it when you needed to do it. But the Death card comes in to say, okay, now that you've cleared the path, you've cleared a way. Now I am coming through and there's really not a whole lot that I have to cleanse or to end or to wrap up or to finish or to release. I'm just going through and kind of cleaning up the leftover bits. I'm coming through and sweeping it all away. I'm helping you because this now has been complete. And what comes after death? Rebirth. Now it's time for you to start planting those seeds. Wow. So that is our new moon musings for the new moon on October 21st. I'm hoping that you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed tapping into that energy. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be kind of a weird month. So just embrace the weird. Embrace the fact that you're going to have a window of time where you're not going to know, but it's not a scary not knowing. It's not a challenging not knowing unless you get in your own way. It's more of an invitation to really connect with source energy and allow source energy to take you where it wants to go. You have the co-creative piece to it. You can tell the universe what it is that you want. Tell your guides what it is that you want. This isn't about you saying, okay, I throw my hands up and take me anywhere. This is more about, okay, you know that I want to feel this way, or you know that I eventually want to get to here. So, of that Seven of Cups, show me what are my options from that. What are my real, honest to goodness, viable, highest and best options? And that's going to be your key. Thanks so much, guys. Always amazing to be able to connect with you guys in this way. If you need a little help or support or guidance in anything that's going on, please feel free to click on the link below and book a session with me. I'm always happy to help out. And until we see each other again for the next episode, take care. We'll see you on the flip side and transform well. For those of you who are new to me, here's a quick little breakdown on how to make this reading work for you. The new moon cycle works where it moves in 3.5 basically days throughout that 28-day cycle. So sometimes you're in a phase a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. It is not linear. But what I do is I give you dates connected to each of the phases of the new moon cycle so that you can come back to the video after you've watched the whole thing, you've taken it all in, you come back to that video for those particular times so that you understand, okay, I'm in, the waxing crescent phase. And what do I need to know about that? What is transpiring in my world right now? And this information is really helpful because it's giving me perspective on what it is I need to learn, or maybe I need to pull back, or maybe I need to lean in a little bit more. So use this. It's kind of like the gift that keeps on giving. Use it throughout the month to support you.